Let's go. What is up, guys? This is a little lopsided. Fuck me. What is up, guys? This is Andrei K here with Good Trip. Yet another Good Trip, Bad Trip. And today I wanted to talk to you about Yandex and why I dislike Yandex. And by dislike, I mean Yandex is not going anywhere. Yeah, it's an enormous conglomerate, and it's going to be part of our life and our future. For the foreseeable future, it's going to be part of our lives. And I know some of you guys work for Yandex, some of you guys work with Yandex. I mean, practically everyone uses some sort of Yandex service, and by dislike, I mean, what I've been talking about all the time. Discontent is the first necessity of progress. So by dislike, I mean, I want them to get better. I don't want them to, cease to exist. I don't want them to disappear. Although, they are sometimes pushing out some smaller players who might have been doing a better job, but you never know. You never know what those smaller players would have been doing had Yandex not been pushing them out. So by dislike Yandex, I mean I want them to get better. And I don't actually use a lot of Yandex services. I rarely use Yandex Search. I don't use Yandex Music. To be honest, I don't know why anyone would want to use Yandex Music, but apparently there are reasons because a lot of people are using that. Yandex Market is probably, I don't know, it's probably the only thing that I use, apart from, of course, the service that I use most of all is Yandex Taxi, and of course, Yandex Navigation. Sorry about that, guys. It's I'm very badly prepared here. So yeah, the camera is going to remain like this because I have no way of straightening it out. So maybe this will freshen up some things. Yeah, so what I dislike about Yandex, basically most of the problems with Yandex Taxi are caused by Yandex Navigation. And I touched upon it briefly in one of the previous Good Trip, Bad Trips that Yandex talks a lot about how great they are and about how breakthrough they are, how innovative they are, how the algorithms that they are developing are changing the world and are shaping the world that we're living in and are shaping the future. And they are touting a lot of new services and new algorithms and AI and all those buzzwords. If you go to any Yandex sponsored conference or conference where they participate, you will hear a lot of those words and a lot of that stuff, and a lot of their executives will be basically shilling their almost limitless abilities. But the thing is that Yandex Navigation is a kind of like the face of the company. Yeah, it's like basically like a receptionist in a way, because it's a service that everyone uses. It's a kind of gateway service that everyone uses like every day. And Yandex Taxi is also a service that most people who use taxi service at all will use it in some instances at least, if not all the time. And the problem that I have with Yandex Navigation is that it's currently very bad. It's very bad. You've no doubt come across this too. The way that it builds the routes is just beyond all human comprehension and logic. The service apparently cannot distinguish between a traffic jam and a row of parked cars. If you are ordering a taxi, they will oftentimes find you a taxi that's on the other side of, say, the Garden Ring, and whereas it's closest to you in terms of like direct distance, as they say, as the crow flies, sometimes it will take a substantial amount of time for this car to get to you. So all those things, and those things are quite, it does not really require artificial intelligence or some super advanced algorithms or some breakthrough innovative technology that they're often talking about that they have. It seems to be quite basic stuff. And also keep in mind that Yandex is a Russian company. So whereas Google, for instance, which I'm by no means advocating Google, and I mean, with big companies like that, with Yandex, with Google, I think it's impossible to really like them, to really love them. You have to be, if you want better service, you have to be constantly unhappy about stuff. And yeah, it's like the same as with the government. In any truly democratic country, people will be disliking their government. And people only liking their government it's the first sign of an authoritarian regime, when people are saying, "Oh, I love what is this guy called, Gurbanbashi?" I forget, or Banbashi, Gurbanbashi in Turkmenistan. I forget what it's called, but like this kind of when the person standing at the top is almost like a king or an emperor, and then everyone's just like bowing to him. It's absolutely the same with big companies like Yandex, Google, Apple, you name it. It's impossible to really like them, because they are, even if they're doing some good things, they're also doing some things that are not so good. And if you want to kind of shape them into becoming better versions of themselves, you have to try and be unhappy about what they're doing. And so where was I? About Google, for example. They have their navigation, and their map of Moscow is also not perfect. I'm not saying it's better, although I'm not saying it's worse. I can't really see any advantages that Yandex has here, but that's neither here nor there. That's not important here, because for Google, Moscow is takes probably 150. Russian market is I don't know, 158th. This is just a figure I pulled out of my ass. 158th market in terms of overall revenue. So it is understandable that they do not, allocate more resources to making navigation in Russia and in Moscow perfect. But for Yandex, it's really inexcusable, because this is their home country, and this is the capital of their home country, and they've been at it for quite a while, and they still can't fucking figure it out. They still can't get rid of all the bugs and make shit work. So guys, if you're unable to deal with simple things like that, then I shudder to think at the AI that you're developing, and the telemedicine projects that you have. Do better. I guess is my message. Try to do better. And again, by no means am I trying to offend anyone in particular. I know a lot of good people work for the company. It's an enormous company, so it can't consist of bad people. And I mean, I assume that the majority of people working for this company are good people. But at the end of the day, it's like Louis C.K., you know, they worked so hard and it didn't make it good. So maybe a lot of good people worked on Yandex Navigation and on Yandex Taxi, but at the end of the day, it's a shitty service. So this was basically my bad trip for the day. And the good trip will be when, you know, they try to, not try to, but when they actually improve it a little bit, which is, I'm hoping, which is going to happen in the future. So this was Andre K with Good Trip, Bad Trip, just a rant on me being unhappy about some of Yandex services. Peace out.